So later I'm uploading into YouTube. There is no issue, right?
Yeah, no problem with that, Bhagyasri.
Can you introduce yourself, Ganesh?
Yeah, sure, Bhagyasri. Thank you for accepting my request. My name is Ganesh and I'm from Hyderabad. Basically, I'm from Warangal, but I live in Hyderabad. And Currently, I'm having 3.5 years of experience in IT industry. Currently, I'm working for TCS and I'm completely into manual testing and I want to switch from manual testing to automation testing. So I started learning Java basics, core Java, and with that I have learned Selenium framework for testing, and I also improved my skills in BDD Cucumber framework and TDD Test Engine framework. So as soon as I started giving attending interviews for a switching job, I also observed that the companies are requiring any additional skills along with UI testing. So I started learning API testing, and I did some hands-on on Postman also. So I have attended a few interviews, and so far I observed that my skills with the Selenium are normal, like good enough to crack an interview. But I need to focus on rest assured things. And apart from these things, I'm also exploring opportunities with Selenium with AI integration, Bhagyasri, because we know that nowadays all the industries are converting their business logics to AI mode. So I started learning that way also and trying to shift right now.
And which tools and technologies till now you have worked on?
Till now, I used for the basic UI testing with Selenium and Java, and I also integrated it with BDD Cucumber and TDD TestNG. When we want to work with large data sets, then we need to import this Apache PY and to handle the Excel data, etc. So that thing I have practiced. And in BDD Cucumber, I practiced with parameterized. Um, Feature file, the feature file will be using scenarios and scenarios outlines, right, when we want to pass data dynamically. So these things also I have learned. And coming to API part, basically I'm having idea of the basic methods, how to send a post method and a get method. So these things I've practiced so far.
First, we'll start with Ganesh. So, yeah.
Okay.
Can you explain me what are different OOPS concept?
Yeah, there are four main OOPS concepts in Java: encapsulation and abstraction, inheritance and polymorphism. So, encapsulation and abstraction. Encapsulation means binding some amount of code into single unit is called encapsulation, and we can achieve encapsulation by using privatization of objects and data getters and setters. So, we first in a class first we declare the objects as private objects, um, and the actionable methods we will be declaring them as public methods, so that in the parent class when we call these methods, the data can be assigned to the methods, and the abstraction is also done in the parent class where we are executing the test. And abstraction means using usually the end user doesn't need to know what all the internal logic implementation is going on. So hiding all these logical implementations and showing only what is necessary to the end user, this is called abstraction. So these both encapsulation and abstraction work together. And the other two, inheritance and polymorphism. Inheritance means inheriting the parent class properties like objects and methods into child class using extend keywords. And this happens like in two ways, uh, which is it is called polymorphism. Polymorphism means single method different behaving differently at different times. Polymorphism is of two types: method overloading and method overriding. Method overloading means a same name, same method, single method having different arguments passed. Like in method one, if it is having integer A and integer B, in same method, method one, we can overload it with different types of arguments like integer a, integer b, integer c, or we can change the data type also. It is also called compile time polymorphism, because when we overload the method during compile time itself, the compiler will understand that the method has been overloaded. And the other one is method overriding. Overriding means changing the internal logic implementation of a method. So in child class, if method is performing one action, and in parent class, if a method is performing one thing, and in child class, if we are changing the logic implementation, then it is called overriding. So when we are calling the child class element in our main method, then the at the runtime, the compiler will understand that method has been overridden. It is called overriding. So these are four main concepts of OOPS in Java.
Okay, for overloading, if you wants to achieve overloading, is it necessary to inherit that class?
For method overloading, we don't need to inherit. In the same class itself also, we can overload it.
Okay. For overriding,
Yeah, overriding, we have to inherit from child class to parent class. Only then we can call the method and we can change the logic.
then only we can achieve overriding.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, did you ever used encapsulation technique in your framework?
Yes, encapsulation, usually we follow POM pattern. So when we follow POM pattern, we usually do it because we have to separate the locators and methods from the test execution logics. So if we do this, only then we will be able to maintain all the codes separately, and we can reuse them whenever required. So in order to achieve that, we will declare all the locators. We will create all the locators as objects in POM class, and there the objects will be private. And to perform action on that object, I will be declaring a method as a public. So this is encapsulation process which we follow in our project.
Okay. What pattern you were using in
We,
POM classes for creating the objects? There are different design patterns, right?
yes, we use page factory pattern using at the rate find by annotation. We create all the objects and methods, and we can call them whenever required.
Okay, so you said you were using BDD Cucumber framework, right? So,
Yes,
so can you explain me your framework, like how you are constructed?
only. So usually the typical project structure of a BDD is as follows. Like it usually works with a coordination between three files: feature file, feature file, step definition file, and test runner file. In feature file, basically it is a Gherkin syntax. We use Gherkin syntax to write the feature file, where it will be having some keywords like feature, scenario, and scenario outlines will also be there. These two are different, and the main steps of the application which we are testing, these things we will be defining it in given, when, then, and but in these keywords we will be defining the high level functionality of the applications which we are working on. So this is about feature file. This feature file will be having a dot feature extension. Only then it will be created as a feature file. And then to each of these key scenarios which we have written in given, when, then keywords. For each of these steps, we must be having some method which should be called in a step definition file. So for step definition file, we'll be maintaining a separate package. In that package, we create a separate class for the either for the feature or for the product based on the company's requirement. We'll be doing that. So in that step definition file, whatever the key scenarios are there in feature file, we'll be executing each and every method to perform action on it. And to execute the step definition file, whatever the feature we are testing, for that we have to create a test runner file. So this test runner file also will be keeping it in a separate package. In this test runner file, we will be using at the rate cucumber options. In at the rate cucumber options, we'll provide the feature file location, and in there is one more option at the rate cucumber runner, I guess. In that, we will be providing glue option where the step,
Test runner file where we
yeah,
execute
test
the
runner
test.
files
Mm.
location. Mm.
Mm.
In that glue location, in that glue option will be there keyword. In that, we will be providing the step definitions location, and from there we can execute the cucumber file. So this is a basic framework structure of bdd cucumber. Apart from these, we also have some typical folders like, um, for each page we will be having a separate class. In our application, web application, there are a lot of pages, so for each page we'll be having a different class will be separately maintained, which comes under pom pattern. And for data storage, for test data, we will be maintaining a separate folder under src test resources. um, and screenshots, reports, for these things also will be having separate files and under different folders. And some typical operations like generic operations like login, logout, and setup and tear down of WebDriver. For these things also we have a separate folder. For example, for setup and teardown, we have base test dot class, a Java file where it will be where the methods for setup and teardown of a WebDriver codes will be written. And config dot properties is one more file where I will be keeping all my credentials like a username and password and application URLs. These things will be kept under config dot properties. Um, there are other files related to other frameworks like testng related frameworks are also there, where testng dot failed xml files and the testng dot output files, whatever the reports which are auto generated by testng, for them we'll be keeping a separate folder. And screenshots, and in cucumber we will be having this URL generation will also be there using publish keyword. When we use publish keyword, a URL, internal URL will be created for the reports. So for that also we'll be maintaining a separate folder. So this is overall our project structure, how it looks like. Since it is integrated with both testng and cucumber, we'll be having the folder project structure also like a combined way.
Okay. So you said you know Java Selenium, right? So
Yes.
did you ever came across any exceptions in Java Selenium while working on?
Mm. Yes, Bhagyashree, we face usually when we are handling with drop down options and navigate to other pages, due to synchronization issues, we will be getting these exceptions. The most typical issue exception which we get is element not found exception and timeout exception also. Since we are working, it is our test environment is integrated with the databases also. So to fetch the data from the databases, sometimes that it takes time more than the time which we provide in our test script, like 10 seconds. It exceeds 30 seconds also. So in that cases, before getting the results, we'll be getting timeout exception. And sometimes after getting the data due to page refresh, we will be getting stale element exception also. Stale element exception usually we will get when a page is refreshed, or when we move forward and backward between the web pages. When we try to locate an already located element, if you are trying to locate it again, the element will face stale element exception due to the DOM structure rearranged. When the DOM structure is rearranged, the elements will be the elements location will be changed. I mean, the XPath will be correct, but due to Ajax call, the element will be dislocated from the DOM structure. So that in that case, we'll be getting this stale element exception. And stale element exception, timeout exception, and sometimes due to our test data files, we will also get input output exception also. Um, If you are working with any list of elements, like if I want to count any drop down elements and if I want to print them, if I make any mistake in writing the for loop limit, then we'll be getting arithmetic exception also. So these are some common exceptions which I have faced, Bhagya.
Ganesh, I will ask one question related to string. But as we know, we can create a string in different ways, right? So if I want to create a string with the help of new keyword, what happens? And if I create a string without new keyword, what happens? Can you tell me the difference when we create with new and without new?
When you create it with a new keyword, then it will be created as an object. But without new means it will be just declared as a variable only.
For example, string. I'm
Hmm.
creating str equal to Ganesh. So where it will store,
Hmm.
what happens behind?
Um, when you directly declare a string, then it will be uh, memory part. I mean the location wise details. I'm not particularly sure. But if you create if you create using new keyword, then in the memory heap, the address of this new attribute will be different from the other string without new keyword. So usually string data type is designed to be immutable, which means once the string is declared, then the value of the string cannot be declared. Either we create a new variable, or if we try to edit, then the original value of the string will be changed. So in order to overcome that immutable part, we have other ways of creating string, which is using creating a new keyword. When we don't want to, we are not anymore in using that old string which we have declared, and if we want to somehow override the value, then using the same variable name, if I use new keyword, then the initially declared Ganesh value, these can be overridden, the value can be changed. And in address memory heap also, the location will be stored in a different location.
Okay. So you said string str equal to if I create a Ganesh, it store in heap. You said right. It create the
Yeah, memory
object.
heap.
Memory heap.
Yeah.
So if I create one more string, okay, string
Mm,
str2 equal to Ganesh. So already one Ganesh string is there in string pool. As
mm,
according to you, you said it will store in a memory heap. So,
yeah.
so if I create one more string with the same string content as a Ganesh, so what happens here?
Yeah.
Does it create a new string?
This No, it doesn't create a new string. str2 will also redirect it to the first str. The initially declared variable whichever is there, the it will be redirected to that only, because we are not changing the value here, because in Java string is immutable. Immutable means once the string is declared, then the value cannot be changed. So even if you declare another string with a different variable, but the value is same, means it will again go to the it will again refer the same Ganesh which is already declared.
So whenever you create a string with the help of string, that will be stored in string constant pool. Okay,
String constant pool.
constant
Okay.
pool. So because as we know,
Mm,
string is a immutable, so we cannot change it.
immutable. Yes.
So string constant pool means where it will store in a place where we cannot modify it. So if I create a
Okay.
one more
String
string,
constant.
yeah, string
Mm,
constant pool. If I create one more string with Ganesh, but with a different object name, but still it does not create a new string because already that Ganesh string is existing string constant pool. So it does not create a new string. So it
yeah,
point
it
to
is
the
already
same
stored in
string.
the constant pool. So
It point to the
mm,
same string. So I will give
okay.
one program, Ganesh. So you have to write a Java program on this.
Okay.
So um, you should
Mm-hmm.
reverse the string. Okay. So string is your name.
Mm-hmm.
So your name, full name you take. So that you have to reverse. So output should be reversed. Each and every letter of that
Okay.
string should be reversed. So you can share your screen, Ganesh.
It's each and every letter you want
Letter of
it
that.
to return.
Yes. So string you take as your name. So every letter of that string should be reversed. But
Okay.
space must be exist in between.
You can see my screen, right,
Yes,
Bhagyashree?
yes. Your complete full name you can take.
Can I open any compilers like VS Code or
This
I
is
guess this
fine.
code?
Yeah. There is mistake in ninth line, right? Is that method correct?
It's got caret. Uh,
It is a method, no?
yeah, caret. Anything wrong with bracket? Then I guess it is square brackets. So usually s dot caret I int I. It has to be length minus one. Otherwise, we'll get the. Hmm. Yeah, now it is done.
Yeah. So, yeah, Ganesh, what is difference between implicit weight, explicit weight, and fluent weight?
Mm. Implicit weight means it is global weight, which is applicable for all the elements on the web page. When usually when we want to wait for until all the elements are loaded on the web page, then we will be adding this implicit weight. And if implicit fail, when we are not able to locate any element after implicit wait, then then the execution will throw uh, no such element exception. And explicit wait means it is a particular to a web element. When we know which particular attribute is taking time for synchronizing with the application, then we will be adding explicit wait. And in explicit wait, we usually have WebDriver wait library. We have to import this WebDriver wait, and using WebDriver wait, we'll create an object called wait. And in that, we have different methods like element clickable, or element found by text. There are some methods which we can use.
Expected conditions.
uh, yeah, with expected conditions we can apply whatever the methods we need. And if explicit wait fails to locate the element, if it is element is not found, then it will throw timeout exception. The exception is timeout. And fluent wait is advanced version of explicit wait, we can say, because it also works almost similarly like an explicit wait. But additionally, it has some other features like a polling interval, where when we mention the polling interval, then for each of that polling time, the results will be thrown. And it is also enhanced with a try catch block. If we think that any critical coding is there, and if we think that exception is going to occur, then we can add a try catch block to catch the exception details. And it will also throw the exception called the timeout exception, similarly as explicit wait.
So, did you ever used prevent wait?
Fluent wait, yeah, like practice purpose, I have used this fluent wait.
What is difference between get window handle and get window handles?
When only one window is there, then we will be using driver.get window handle. And if multiple windows are there, then we will be using driver.get window handles. And get window handles will be storing the values in a string of array. And get window handles will store the value in a single string.
Get window handle single string ID of that
Mm,
particular window in the form of string it returns.
yeah, yeah.
Get window handles
It will
ID of
store in a string of array.
so what is the difference between find element and find elements?
Similarly, like find element, when we use driver.find element, the locator will locate the whatever the first matching element is there. Then the web driver will locate that element. It will locate only a single element. And driver.find elements, when we use this, um, number of elements will be stored, and this will store the elements in a list of set of string.
List of web element. Return type of find elements is
Yeah,
list
it
of web.
returns a list of web elements. Yes,
Setup string is for window handles. Get window handles.
yeah, because they are unique. Yeah, correct. Thank you.
Yeah. So you have worked on manual testing, right, in the first project. So did you ever came across
Yes.
any high priority, high severity bugs?
Yes, Bhagyashree, we have faced. There was one particular release. Like in our project, we used to work in waterfall method. So once for every release, it used to be around 42 to 46 days of timeline for release. So in one particular release, we worked on um, drop down options where there used to be. So basically we work on provisioning of broadband services. So the client is UK. So in UK they will be following this postcode system. Like in India we have pin code now, so they will be having postcode. So for each postcode they will be having some different locations. So in one of the release, what the major change was, they have reduced the number of locations. So there used to be around 172 locations, but now they have reduced it to around 70 or 7200. So we have received document like with all the list of the locations, and whichever are highlighted in red should be removed, and whichever are in blue color they should be newly added. So both remove of some old locations was there, and adding of new locations was also there, but the overall count is reduced. So when we tested it and when we released it into the production, the production team, live testing team came back with high severity and low priority bug with the count mismatch. So the number of count was not matching. Like sorry, the count was fine, but the locations which are supposed to be deleted were not deleted, and added should be added were not added. So they came up with this high severity and a low priority bug, because if a client selects any removed location, or if they don't find any location which is supposed to be there, and if it is not there, then it is critical from the customer's end. So they raised it as a high severity and low priority. So this is one example of high severity and low priority in our project I have faced.
Okay, one scenario-based question I will ask. So,
Sure.
consider in your project you have received a new build. So, you have raised a bug. You have found one bug. In your perspective, you are considering that bug as a high priority and high severity. If you have raised it as a high severity and high priority, but if any developer says that is not high priority and high severity, if the developer requests you to change the priority of that bug as a low, so do you change as per
Mhm.
developer request as a
Okay.
tester?
First of all, while raising a bug, yeah, we have to look what kind of defect it is. If it is affecting both functionality of the application, and it is also affecting the business values, critical business values also, only then we will be declaring it as a high severity and high priority. Um, so if it is only affecting functionality and not the business perspective, then priority will be low, severity will be high. So in that case, in that way, we can justify it to the developer. And if it is affecting both functionality and business, then we'll be definitely keeping both them as high, severity high and priority high. So if that is the case, then we'll convey the same to the developer, and we'll keep as it is. So if anything is not matching with the priorities that we usually follow, then we have to change it.
So, as per developer request, do you change that bug to low priority, or you will try to convince the developer no, it is high priority, or how do you manage in that situation? Like, how do you convince the developer?
Yeah, that is what I explained, I guess. If it is impacting both functionality wise, if the main functionality of the application is um, not functioning as expected, that is high severity. And in business point of view also, like if it is business point of view, like any color is not matching as per the client's requirement, or if any font is not matching, then it is a business requirement, it is not a functional issue. But if it needs to be fixed as soon as possible, then we will be declaring it as a high priority also. So that way, if our bug is related to, if our bug is satisfying both these conditions, then it will be definitely, I won't be changing it, I will be convincing him with the same solution which I just said.
Okay, there is a one issue in your application only say there is a login page. So in a login page there is a OK or cancel. These kind of buttons will be there, right? So consider that cancel button is overlapping on OK button or login button. You consider login only, login button and cancel button, two buttons are there.
Okay.
So the cancel button is
Hmm.
overlapping on login button. So how do you consider it? You found this issue. So do you consider this low priority, low or what severity and what priority you will consider for this issue? So how do you do? What approach do you take for this if you found?
While since we are testing it manually, I will check. if both the functionality of cancel button and submit button they are functioning properly, then I will keep it as a low severity and high priority, because the it is a UI issue. So on the screen itself, the clients and the customers can see it. So the priority will be high. And also, I if I'm finding any difficulty in the functionality of the buttons itself, like when I'm clicking the cancel button, if submit action is happening, or when I'm submitting the button, if canceling is happening, if functionality is misbehaving, then I will declare it as a high severity and a high priority.
Okay, if functionality wise, if it is not working, so that it will be
Function
considered as a high priority, high
high,
severity.
yeah, functionality wise, high severity and high priority. If functionality is working fine, then low severity and high priority.
And what is exception in Java?
Exceptions.
Yes.
Okay, when we write any code, if the compiler compiles it correctly, but during runtime, if the code logic is wrong, then the code Java code will be throwing exceptions, like the usually like a mathematical exception or arithmetic exception. These are usual exceptions which I faced.